The 3 more minutes will start exactly 7:05. Uh, yeah, 2 more minutes. So, okay. So, say good evening once more. Thank you all for joining. You are welcome to Get Finance and Investment Tips community webinar, and we will be doing this periodically. And one of the objective of this community is to empower people, give them financial knowledge for them to understand what they invest in, how they can also optimize their investments. And I can assure you of the value that you would get well in this community. Um, and yeah, my name is Dr. Ayodeji Ebo. Call me Dr. Ayo or call me Ayo. And been in the investment space for close to about 20 years. So I'm also going to be discussing it from a place of experience. That's after here, and yeah, so it's not just based on theory; it's also based on practical. So we today we're discussing the basics of stock investing for beginners. Um, is the and we'll just do this for an hour. Then we'll also be able to take questions because I believe this is a new community. People have a lot of questions to ask about why they are here, how they can benefit from their community. So would also the essence of this platform is also or this webinar is to also provide that. So, but we'll go straight and see what we can cover within the period that we have. And you can raise your hand if you have questions as we go. This is not like a webinar where you just come, you listen, or just it's the purpose for you to sacrifice evening is because you want to understand investment in stocks. So if you have questions, you would permit you either you drop it on the chat group or as you progress. So based on our focus this evening, which is on stock investing, first of all, we'd say what is a stock? So some people you would have heard, some people call it stock, some people say equity, some people say shares. So for you to invest, you even need to understand what are you investing in? What does it mean to invest in a stock? So a stock represents a share in the ownership of a company and constitute a claim to the portion of its assets and earnings. So for instance, if I can see one name here, Abiodun sets up a company today, sets up a company today and is trying to wants people to invest in that company, would Abiodun would issue shares, which and will sell it to people, and people will buy those shares, and they will buy those shares, and they become a shareholder. They become a shareholder. So the when you invest in stock, you become a shareholder. But part of what I want us to have at the back of our mind is that when we talk about investing, so there are two. When you are investing in stocks, we always say in those days, one of my tutors in those days would say, you shouldn't be too emotionally attached to a stock. You invest for you to make profit. So we've seen customers that are attached to, say, for instance, First Bank. Even when First Bank was not paying dividend for years, they were so attached to it that they could not sell First Bank to buy another stock. But for us, we are investors. We need to first have that at the back of our mind. There's no attachment. Yes, I love this company. You can love the company, but can the company deliver value for you or deliver value to you? That is what you need to first look at. Will they pay me dividend? Will they deliver value? If they will not deliver value, no matter the sentiment, you move to a stock that would deliver value to you. That is really very, very key. The value part, and I want us to note, please, can we mute Olufunshaw Peters, please, can you mute? Okay, I've muted him. Yeah, so you need to take that knowledge that there's no attachment. You are there for the money and the return you want to make. You are there for the money and the return you want to make. So when you invest in stocks, you are looking out for the return that you would be making for investing in that stock. So you become a part owner. So when you see people, you are investing in shares, you are investing in stocks, it's you become you become a shareholder in that particular company, and that gives you the right to a lot of things. When you become a shareholder, when it gives you voting right for it gives you voting rights, it gives you the right to receive dividend, and if there are any other corporate action that the company embarks of, it gives you that. There are some of the trainings we will do later is to understand all those. For instance, is there a payment date? Some of the terminologies to understand how you benefit from it. But given our time, this is our first webinar for this community, and the understanding, and that's why you see I'm taking time. I'm not rushing for us to understand what we will be investing in. Secondly, you say, how does the stock market works? The stock market is like a marketplace. So if you see, for instance, Konga, for instance, the buyers, they are buyers that goes to Konga, and they are sellers. The sellers are the vendors that come to list on that. So what Konga is doing is they are trying to match. So someone is trying to, I want to buy an iPhone. I go to Konga, I go to Jumia. The vendors are trying to sell iPhone. So they are providing a platform. The stock exchange is providing that platform where buyers and sellers come together. So you will get the sense, you of the postings that like this week that I was trying to do that there are bids, everything is on bid and everything is on offer. When we say it's on bid, it means everybody is trying to buy and nobody is trying to sell. And you may want to ask, why are people not selling? So for instance, you would, if you think through it well, so if I have an information that like the information that MTN tariff will be reviewed. So when the news was released, those that were holding the stocks, because we believe that every investor is rational. Why will they come and sell when they have information that it has the potential to go up? Then you are also now trying to buy. So sometimes when you now have that, most sellers, they have the information, they hold on to their shares. And people is at that point that people are trying to buy. Then there will be no, once it starts with, there will be more buyers than sellers. Then later, the buyers would have bought everything in the market. So we say the market is on full bid, full bid. And when we say it's on full offer, it means everybody is trying to escape. Everybody is trying to sell. And the person that should be buying, you'll be wondering, why are people not buying? The reason why you want to escape and sell is the same reason why the other party is not buying, because the shares may be overvalued. They will look at that. There may be reasons, or there may be negative news that is out there why the person is not buying. So those are some of those things that would inform, like the insurance space at the beginning of the year. Even insurance companies that were not making money, they were all gaining. For instance, when I did that weekend, I posted, it took hours. I had to crunch data on all the 22 insurance companies and even see which ones have value. And you discover that Suno Assurance is trading. That means people are paying a lot of money. Let's say, I don't want to use those technical terms of multiples because this is a basic class. That is like someone is saying this egg costs 1 naira, but I want to buy it from you at 10 naira. Why would someone prefer to buy the one egg that costs 1 naira at 10 naira when others are selling at 1 naira? So you would be wondering what's going on. Why are people pricing this company more than the rest? So I saw that it was trading at a multiple about 15 times. It means 15 times above others for that particular stock. And ICO Insurance, the likes of NEM, and there were still people are paying 2 times for his earnings, and someone is paying 15 times. So it was so obvious that this is very overvalued. And if you see throughout last week, everybody was trying to sell that Sunu Insurance. Because sometimes we also have information, sometimes we are privileged to speak to people that are within the firm, and you know that nothing is happening. So I'm just using it to hint that some of the recommendations or suggestions that we make are informed based on several factors. You can, and also for you to understand how to do your own personal research to add to whatever we drop or we recommend on the platform. Because our objective is that if we consistently, with these webinars, consistently invest, in 6 months, you should understand how the market works. If someone is telling you buy a stock, you should know what to first of all check before you even invest in that stock, what you are looking out for, so that you would be able to you would be able to maximize your profit. You'll be able to maximize the market. So what are those market participants? You have the companies, those that issue the shares, those that are selling. MTN, Airtel, they are selling the shares. The investors, you are the investor. And like I said, you are just there for potential profits. You are not there because you are not just buying to associate yourself with the firm, but you are there for potential profits. When you also look at their regulators, the regulators help to just provide fairness, transparency, and compliance to ensure that your investment is safe, and other intermediaries, brokers, financial advisors. So I would speak, there will be a class that would, some people you may want to understand how the trading mechanism, how it works. For those are how when people are trying to sell, when people are trying to buy, who do they favor the most? How can you ensure that when you key in your trades, you are able to ensure that they fill it for you. These are some of the things we'll look at, but because of our time, we can't go into everything today. The when we look at the how the Nigerian stock market, we're now trying to, I've spoken about generally how stock market works, but when we want to look at how the Nigerian market works, you would see that we have what we call NGX. They are the one providing the platform. I used the example of Conga then. They are trying to match the buyer, match the seller. For those that stay long in the market, there's what we call over era, where people when people want to sell, they would you raise you raise your order up on the floor. Then people that want to buy, that's customers would have given the brokers the mandate. But these days there's already technology, so you can trade from a platform, you buy and sell. And I think I will also just state like a caveat. Yes, we have partnered with AfriInvest, and also as disclosure, I work with AfriInvest. But this community is not restrictive. If you think that you want to open an account with any other firm that you trust, you can still open your account, whether it's a US stock account, it's an NGX account. But for those that may not even understand maybe where to go, that's why we've partnered with AfriInvest, where I work and I also understand, and I know that there's compliance issue, compliance, and there's control around their platform. So, but we'll speak more on that. I thought to just chip that in. So, for the Nigerian stock market, we also have the Securities and Exchange Commission. So, when you are trying to open an account with any stockbroker, you must be sure that they operate and they are regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. And for Nigeria, obviously, the transactions are done in Naira. When we get to the stocks, transaction will be in USD. So the secondary markets, there's the primary market where the offers. So some of us may be familiar in just towards the end of last year, different banks came up with public offers. Some came up with right issues, some came up with offers. Offers, that means they are selling their shares at a particular price to you. For the rights, you must have bought those shares and you have them before you can buy rights. Or some people, you may buy from those that are existing shareholders. So for right issue, but I won't go into that technicalities. But we understood, GT Bank was a public offer. Zenith, they did their public offer. And it is those shares they come to list. So your products, I would just like to, so that I'm not use example. You see that if you want to sign up as a vendor on Jumia, and you would have bought your product and you tell them you want to register on Jumia, so that potential buyers they can be able to sell their products. It is that company will register. That company will register on the where the company will register their shares for them to be able to trade it, buy and sell, for those that want to buy and for those that want to sell those shares. So for the secondary market opens in Nigeria, opens from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. West African time. But for some platform, it may be around 10. 10 is when active trading starts exactly. So you may be able to input orders. So one strategy that I can give you, when market opens at 9:30, if assuming there is a stock that everybody has been trying to sell and you're also trying to escape, When everybody is trying to sell, you are trying to escape. When everybody is trying to buy, you are trying to be part of those that are trying to buy. Exactly 9:30, once the market opens, you quickly drop your order. At that point, it has to be a limit order. So that what you do is that you will look at if the price yesterday closed at 10 naira. Markets in Nigeria, markets can only go down, and we need to know this, by just 10%, and it can go up by just 10% during trading, normal trading. Compared to the US market, the US market can go down by 100%, and it can go up by 100%. I've even traded a stock that's gone up by 800%. So you would see the difference. So in Nigeria, the maximum you can lose in a day on a stock is 10%, which means that if you are trading the US market, you have to be more careful, because you can lose if you trade the wrong stock, you can lose all your investments. You see that I'm trying to also highlight the risk. As we are trying to make money, you need to understand what you are coming into. Does this align with your risk objective? If you are the type, so you need to know now, if you are the type that if you buy a stock at 10 naira and it moves to 9 naira and you can no longer sleep, or you are restless, stock market is not meant for you. Because that same stock that has gone down to 9 naira can be 15 naira tomorrow. But if you are not patient, you will be forced to sell. Or you now start asking people even on the platform, what's happening? I bought this stock at 10 naira. It's now 8 naira. What would happen? And there's one example for us. When during the COVID era, those that were sensitive, which I assure you, as we go along in this journey together, you will understand how the market works. Before COVID, COVID started, the lockdown started around March and April. But before then, Zenith Bank was trading almost at 22 naira. By May, which you can verify with charts, the stock came to around 9 naira 75 kobo. And I know people that sold at 11 naira. But before the end of that year, that same stock moved to about 30 naira. So if you have panicked and you have sold at 11 naira, you will never forgive the market. You will never even forgive yourself. You will be so bittered that you will regret investing. But there's one thing that Warren Buffett always say, that don't buy a stock that you will not be willing to hold even when the market shuts down. So if like MTN, for those that have been following this group, we started as a very close group throughout last year within the firm, and we have been talking about MTN from 190. It moved down to 170, and some and what's going on is now 170. So this stock has fundamentals. It is the time for you to even buy more. If you were so confident to buy it at 200, now that is 170, that is when you should even buy more, because the fundamental remains. I don't need to, when you check their results, these are some of the things we will see that as we progress. We can't do everything today. I will try to still see if we'll have another class before end of this month to continue from where we stop. Because I don't want to, this is not a webinar of just trying to rush through to fulfill all righteousness. It's for us to be able to understand as a community, and we're empowered. But I'm looking forward to a period when, even when I'm unable to respond, people that have understood the market are also guiding other people right way. So when we see, like Tesla, I think was last year, Tesla came down by almost 50%. And by then, we're telling people this is the time to buy. Even Nvidia, I think, came down there was some news in the US around rate cuts, that it will be delayed. NVIDIA, after the reconstruction, came down to $100. So we're buying it then because we said this stock has fundamentals. That same period, within 1 month, it moved to almost 140. Yesterday, NVIDIA was around 130 something. The more it goes down, the more attractive good stocks would be. So once you identify that this is a good stock, it is, you buy it more when it goes down, as long as fundamentals have not changed. And that is the mindset I want us to have. We'll look at some, if we get to that slide, we'll look at some of the stocks. So when you see stocks that have fundamentals, when they are down is when you should even buy more. I recall buying Nestle at almost 700 for my kids then. When I saw it, this is a stock that has done 1,200. And it came down because every month I try to buy shares for them. I've been it for almost over 10 years. Every month, something small you buy for them. Fidelity then at 2 naira, we're buying every month. And you see that's like 5x, almost more than 8x now. So because you do that over time, you would be able to take advantage of the market. So I've spent a lot of time here on the US market. So we have more than one exchange. You know, for the Nigerian market, we have just the NGX. For the US market, we have different exchange, but one of the 2 or 3 prominent ones, you know, the New York Stock Exchange, you have the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. They are all regulated by US, and obviously they trade in dollars. And they also they list shares in the secondary market. And like I mentioned then, the US market can move up by 1,000% and can move down to 1%. So I've bought a stock before, these are years ago, that it went to almost $1 or $0.05. So it can crash. You go and buy, if you buy the wrong stock, it can crash. But if you get it right, even when it's going down, they will not, it's almost odd or rare that you would see Apple just crash by 100%, except something very fundamental. It's not, it's almost unlikely. That's the way I'll put it, but I won't say it is 100% not possible. But these are stocks that have tested time. So if you understand, for the US market opens at 9:30 a.m. You see Eastern time, that's US time, which is our own time at 3:30. By April, March, when the time zone also change again, it will move to 2:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Currently is 3:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. For those that maybe have platforms that give them access to pre-market opens as early as 10 a.m. Nigerian time, and they can still trade up to 1 or 2 a.m. Nigerian time. But if you are just starting, you should just be okay with the normal regular time, Mondays to Friday. There are public holidays that are also observed that market will not open within that period. Yeah, so it's good that we also note that. Part of some of the instruments that are also listed that we would speak more on, apart from equities, ETFs, we would also take classes, and if some people have questions, I would also answer it on ETFs. That's exchange traded fund. They are also listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. They are listed on the US Stock Exchange. And for those that trade the US market, it's always advisable that the first 15 minutes you don't trade. The reason is that there are a lot of algorithms that have been set, systems that have been set that you are trying to trade within that period. That period is always very volatile because, you know, they build algorithms that would have, when market opens, they are trying to buy, trying to sell. You may You may put in an order and you'll be surprised that you see the order at $8, and by the time you are buying, it's giving you at $10. And or you are trying to sell at $8 and you are selling. That's if you use market order, which part of what we plan to also do is over time we call it stock 101. We'll be dropping terminologies and their meanings and how you can how you can apply them in the market, market terminologies. So if you put a market order within that period, markets can be very volatile because the algorithms, the trading machines are also trying to position their portfolio. So that period, you may not get the best price. But if I believe that sometimes I can put NVIDIA, for instance, that at a limit, even on for those using Optimus by Affirmware, you can put it at a limit. You want to buy, at 120 if you are buying 1 unit. If you limits are applicable when you are buying a whole unit. But if you are buying fractional, part of what the platform like AfroInvest, Trove, Chaka, what they present is that you can buy $1 of Apple. You can buy $5, which is a certain percentage of Apple. And when you buy it, when they pay dividend, you also get a fraction. If it's 0.5% of Apple shares you own, when they pay the dividend too, you also get the 0.5% of that. So you should not trade. So you leave when market after that 15 minutes. If you want to buy your shares because you are buying a market, you can now go into because you see they have close to about 7 hours. So sometimes why rush? But there are sometimes when you really don't care. Maybe you have very strong information about the market. For me, for instance, because I also use platform abroad from 9 a.m., 10 a.m. If I have information, I can trade on those platforms like Trade Zero. Trade Zero allows Nigerians to open accounts, but you cannot do fractional shares. So you see the downside. If you are going to buy Tesla, you buy 1 unit. But you can trade up to 2 a.m. Nigerian time if you have the opportunity. So that is part of what I think some of the trading tricks that I think we need to note. Yes, we are not trading actively, but there are periods that you would see that even if we are saying it's 12 months, within 1 month, Sean, SOUN, for instance, some of us are carrying it at 5x. It's gain. Our plan is 12 months, but within 2 months, 3 months, it gave us close to about 200%, and we took some profits. But when you are investing in the stock market, it is good to have that long-term view. And one major reason I always say this is that if you put your rent money, for instance, in the stock market, and that market is down, you will be forced to sell at a loss. If you don't have the right information and you just come in, maybe you have private information and you just come in, you're just coming planning to say 1 month. So when people call me and say, oh, I have this money, can I turn it over in 2-3 months? What we're doing in this community, we are not coming to turn money around 2 times, 3 times. It can happen. We've seen stocks that have given 100%, 200%, but it doesn't happen all the time. And we're not traders, we're investors. We are not speculating. We see value, we invest in fundamentals. So when we drop list of stocks, even for you, especially for the US market, even for Nigeria, you can also go and verify it. Permit me to quote, like they say, the areas, the Bible, that they go back to verify. You can go and verify that what this person is dropping even makes sense. You will see their financials. Some of the stocks are not in the US. They may be in a loss, but when you check their business model, there's potential. That's what they buy in the US. But in Nigeria, people buy profitability, right? So you want to buy stocks that are paying dividend. You want to buy stocks that their revenue is growing on a quarter-on-quarter basis. So that's it on that end. So why will you want to invest in stocks? Your number one reason, or number one reason why we invest in stocks, is for capital appreciation. So I buy stock at $10. I want to sell it at $15. You know, that is 50%. I buy stock at um 5 naira. I want to sell it at 10 naira. That is 100%. That is capital appreciation. That means you invest, you want your money to grow. You are buying for capital appreciation. Also, we have people that will buy for dividend, and some can buy because of the combination of the two, both capital appreciation and dividend. So if I'm buying Zenith Bank, for instance, maybe I bought at 31 naira and it's currently at 46, 47. I've gotten capital appreciation, but they are also very good in paying dividend. Last year, they paid close to about 4 naira dividend per share. So dividend is paid per share. So if you hold 1,000 units, when they pay 4 naira, it means that you'll be expecting 4,000 naira. There's what we call withholding tax, which is 10%. So if what you're expecting is 4 naira times 1,000, and what you're expecting is 4,000, there's a withholding tax of 10%. It means that you will discount that. That will be 3,600 that is being paid. So some people would invest with the combination of the two. So you need to look at that. If you are the type that don't take risks, the most conservative way to invest, especially in the Nigerian market, is to look at stocks that pay dividend. So when that insurance generation was happening, some people were analyzing who are those companies that will pay good dividend or have been paying dividend. You know, you need to make profit first before you think about dividend. So it is those companies that have been paying dividend. You believe that they are doing very well. So you invest for, you say, passive income. Sometimes those dividend come in handy. It can be, and we always sometimes advise, there's what we call reinvestment. So when you get your dividend, you can reinvest it to buy additional units. Most platforms, especially for US platforms, when they pay the dividend, they already, if you set it, you will be able to reinvest the dividend immediately. So it means that the units that you will be carrying will be increasing over time. So that would help you. Diversification of investments. And this is when we talk about, the community, our focus is different asset classes. For some people, they don't want to hear about stocks. We will be discussing about fixed income that will not give you any risk. This is what you get. But one potential way to make long-term wealth is stock market. You can go and read about it over time. It is the stock market. Just if you are very new, you can start small and begin to develop the interest, and you see, because you need to, beyond the saying, beyond the talking. So if you start, let's assume you have capacity to start with 100,000, or you say, okay, my portfolio is 1 million and I'm setting aside 100,000 for the stock market. That's fair enough. What we would always say is, don't put all your eggs in investments in one basket. You need to put for fixed income. But if you are just starting, you start small. Say you are testing waters, so that you build confidence. Even some of the suggestions and recommendations that we make, you also be like Thomas in the Bible, and you are trying to see this. We have said that this stock will go in 12 months. Did it move? Did it go up? So that you are testing, and that over time you build confidence in whatever recommendation that is being made. You build confidence in whatever recommendation that is being made. So which is very, very important. So capital appreciation, passive income, it is very key. And long-term wealth. And one good way that you can outpace inflation is investment in stock markets. If you invest in the right stock, if you look at it over the years, it will give you, you will outpace inflation. So when you look at last year, what are the sectors that actually did well? Oil and gas sector. Like how they were telling me, I was about a friend that invested in Aradel on the NASD last year, put 10 million. By the end of the year, the guy had 82 million. That same Aradel, yes, I made money, but I didn't make as much as him because I didn't buy it on NASD. He made, you see, the money 8 times. And when you see, that was from around March to just December. These are just examples of you can make, it can deliver good return for you. You look at even those that have moved 50%. I will show us if we are able to also get there. Stocks, how the market performed last year. You would see some stocks that gained significantly. So I want to tell you, one of the ways that you can outpace inflation and build long-term wealth creation is this stock market. You just need to get close to it and invest intelligently. You would be able to, you would be able to benefit from it. Yeah, so thanks Jennifer for the comments. Yes, bought in on November and it's already up. So those are ways. And what we are building, the community we are building is people that are empowered. You understand, we are not just dropping. We need you to understand what you are even, the objective you have set for. This is January. What objective are you setting for yourself? Do you want to be setting, if it was $5,000, you want to be setting aside on a monthly basis that you want to be putting in the market? In the market, you can't just buy, you can just buy one off. If you buy one off, yes, you can be lucky, you buy at a low price and you just stay and you are just getting dividend. You also have to be buying over time. There's what we call dollar cost averaging. So you are trying to buy when market is low because you are following the market. And now for investment in foreign stocks, which is now more interesting. So earlier this year, for some of those that are following some of my podcasts, you see when I was trying to analyze the assets, for those that converted naira to dollars and invested, they gained, without even doing anything, gained 69% of their investments last year because the naira depreciated by close to about 40%. So let's assume, and that same last year, even I started buying NVIDIA before the conversion at 600. So let's assume I've made 60% in NVIDIA in dollar terms, plus the 69% in naira terms. You can now see that by the time I convert, when I sell and convert back to naira, that is over 120%. You see how the return is in dollars, because if you are earning in naira and you are investing, so I would encourage us, if for the community members that are listening, you need to set something aside, even if it's $5. Please start, because the naira, our projection is, yes, there are different views. Because I'm also an economist, there are different views. We expect that naira should still depreciate by not as much as last year, between 14% and 20%. Some are also of the view that it will appreciate, but we would all see. But because we are not producing enough, so you just have to stay and have a portion of your investment in dollars. So there are some classes that will hold. How do you want to apportion? That would take marker your portion based on your risks. At what percentage you put in stocks, what in US stocks, in Nigerian stocks. There are classes that would also hold like that, and these classes are free. So I would want to encourage us. What will give us joy is that you have taken decisions and you are doing well. that is that feedback that you are doing well, and you are investing, you are making money, and you are building wealth for yourself and wealth for generations to come. I won't speak more. Capital appreciation, I've spoken about that both for Nigerian stocks and for US stocks. For the dividend, the interesting thing about investing in dollars is that they also pay you in dollars. So when you earn $1 dividend, that is $1,600. If you're earning $1, that is $1,600. You see how interesting it can be. And the diversification, you can't afford to have all your investments in Naira. And I'm pleading with us, we advise professionally, we would say you still need to, you are the one to make your own decision. But please, you need to have a certain percentage of your investments in dollars. You need to do that so that you benefit from any market depreciation that occurs. These are the investment approach that we need to set aside. This can even take a whole class. But I'm looking at our time. There are some things that we will touch later, but I just want us to show. So like I mentioned, with their classes before end of this month, we'll still hold another class, and so that I don't want to rush over. We are not just coming to fulfill all righteousness. We want us to understand what we do. So this particular slide, why I put this slide here on portfolio allocation for equities, is that there will be stocks. When we drop those stocks, we say this one has strong fundamentals. There will be some that looks a bit speculative. So based on your investment appetite or investment risk, I would advise, don't have more than between 80 and 70. For those that understands the market, that can be doing even 60-40. Have most of your investments in fundamentally strong stocks. They may not deliver 200%, but capital preservation is also key to encourage you, because if you are just starting, when those stocks go down, if you have stronger capital appreciation, when those stocks go down, you will benefit. You will still, even if you average down, you will still do well. Nvidia is coming down to 130. If it comes to 120, people will pack it. If they were supposed to buy 1,000 units before, fund managers will buy 10,000 units, because it's not all the time you will find that stock there. If Tesla comes to 400 today, people will rush it. So I don't want us to build portfolios that by the time, maybe for some of us, when I drop a stock, you now use all your money to buy speculative stock. You see, I wanted to hold this class before I drop some stocks that speculating. Yes, they have potential to make money, but it's also the risk. When we say risk to reward, we are taking more risk for those stocks, and you cannot risk all your money on those stocks. What if it doesn't work? Those that don't even want to try, but I will advise minimum assign 10% of your portfolio to speculative stocks. We would also not just drop any we will also drop it intelligently. So let fundamental stocks be the most of your portfolio. So if you are just starting, I dropped on the Magnificent 7, and there are also some stocks that we dropped. AVGO, that's broadband. Those are the stocks you should begin to acquire. And if you don't want to bother yourself with buying one or two stocks, there's what we call Vanguard 500. It's an ETF. We would have class to understand ETFs too. So you can see that this is like a major course or a class. But if you create time, if you follow, you will be so empowered that you will also even be able to guide people across this market. So when we say speculative, once I say medium to high risk, let it just be a portion. And for those that don't want to take risks, don't buy. Vanguard 500 covers the top 500 companies in the US. So if last year it gained about maybe 24, 25%. So if you don't want to take any major risk, you buy it. In my portfolio, that Vanguard 500 used to be like the major. You will see that it means I'm balancing it, even if I'm buying stocks that may be very volatile. But this one may not give me 100%, but I'm also trying to protect, because if protect my capital, if I get 20% gain in dollars, for instance, yes, yes, and I'll discuss. They are different, but they have the same underlying assets. Um, the if I invest, sorry, I lost my the trail of my thoughts. But if you invest, if you are investing 1,000, let's minimum or at least 20% be that's 200 that you set aside. So when you're investing in that ETF, then I used to it's if I get return, okay, I can recall what I was saying. If a return of 20% alone is what I get in dollars. So imagine that the naira, maybe we are very to us to be very optimistic, only depreciated by 10%. By the time I'm converting, you will see that I'll be getting about 30-35% return, which is higher than inflation. So these are the ways that you can beat inflation, because for some of us in our mind, we say, how can I beat inflation? These are some of the investments that will give inflation. This allocation I've done, this is just for stocks. When we talk about portfolio, you can have, so you would see that if you have 1 million naira, if 100,000 is for stock, out of that 100,000, 80,000 can be for stocks that come rain or shine, they've tested the times and they are very strong. You put 80,000 there, and the remaining 20,000, maybe higher is just, I just mentioned one stock, he said it's risky, okay, I just want to take 5,000 out of that, let me also even see how it goes. Over time, you will get confidence. You'll be able to build confidence in the market, and you see how it works. So this is this slide. So I've taken this from Yocha, the app. I also use it. It's easier for me to see the returns in the market on that app. So you'll see for last year, 1 year, Julie Pharmacy, I was even trying to buy this stock, but I got carried away for like 2 or 3 days when it was around 2 naira. I was trying to buy it. I know I was buying, there was nothing fundamental, but there was a momentum on that stock. So I wanted to just put something small. So imagine if I put 10,000 at this 1,600. So 10,000 by God's grace at this level may not do, if I lose the money, I won't cry too much. Yeah, so if I put at this 10,000 and multiply it by 1,600%, it means that 10,000 can become almost 160,000 or almost 1 point something million. It's not important. We've seen it in the markets. See this Sunia Assurance, it just last week it lost almost about almost 50% last week, because it was almost trading at yes, I'm sharing my screen. Can others see my screen? You can use the thumbs up if yeah, see, can others see my screen? Yes, okay, thank you. Yeah, so you would see Ohando within 2 months. Ohando also made a lot of people rich last year. Those that were patient. I know there was one man that has been owning Ohando for almost 5 years and waited. Thank God he did not sell. And he moved to close to 98. I didn't also make much money from there because but he moved and he gained significantly. So you see, I told you that okay, I will look through the questions so I won't forget. Part of what we've said is we're going to use a whole 1 hour to answer questions, because this is like our first meeting. People will have different questions, how they want to on regarding the platform, on stock, on what we have said. So I would go through those questions. So you will see this is just showing you an example. Even if it's 100%, let's not get carried away with the 400% 300%. House cheap Briscoe too. Last year, it was also at least I didn't benefit more than 100%. Sometimes, so if you look at to the right, Dangote Sugar lost 51%. But that same period, this same stock, I've gained 100% on it before. It was just within a month. It still moved to close to about 200%. But sometimes I just get satisfied. Maybe I'm not as risk savvy with some of you. Once I see for some stock, I just see that 100%. I quickly sell and I take my money. So even if it continues to go up, I thank God for the one. Because one thing we need to note in the market for those that will play speculative stocks, it is always survival of the fittest. If you track what happened to Sunu Insurance this week, everybody is trying to sell. Then I will say, who is the mumu that will go to the market to buy when everybody is trying to sell? Because you may be wondering, you are putting in your trades, you say it's not getting executed. Why are people not buying it? Why are you selling? You know, like I started, why are you selling? So see some of these stocks that did well, even NEM has already done 126%, and this year is done close to about 30% again. So, and how did people identify this? The insurance space, I didn't benefit much because there was a mindset I have towards insurance stocks because they've been moribund for years. So, but when you check, for those that did the analysis, you check their 9-month results. Their results for some of them were very impressive, almost more than ×2 of what they made last year, given the tariff that they reviewed. You know, some of the things we discuss, what are the drivers? It was part of this slide, but some of the things we'll look at our next class. What drives the market? So when they reviewed comprehensive insurance used to be 5,000. I think maybe they moved it to 10,000 or 12,000 naira. Third party, the percentage also increased. It means that even if they don't get additional clients, they will increase, which is what is driving us to say, come into MTN. So MTN today, even if they don't have additional subscribers, imagine that the minister has said they will not give up to 100% increase. Even if it's 50% increase, they made close to 2 trillion last year. Let's even assume 50% of that is from data and call. Multiply it, that's additional 1 trillion naira that they will make. So it means that this is a stock that you are planning for the long time. You use this opportunity to buy it. Yesterday I was saying I was still hoping maybe to come to it. It's not impossible it comes back to like 220. But the way I also advise that I trade, when I see good stock, I first buy small with the hope in case if it doesn't go down as expected, I just first buy small. I still keep maybe 30% or 40% of how much I would have put into that stock. So I first buy it and hold it. So, but if it comes down, because I've not used all the money I'm allocating to MTN to it, I will happily buy it. I'll be able to acquire more shares. So that's like the way we need to approach the market. So when you see this is just year to date, this year that I just opened, this is 11th of January. So you can see G PLC is consolidated hallmark PLC. It's gained 62% in addition to what it gained last year. Linkage Assurance, CMTN 242. It still closed very high. You know, it was trading at 230 something, and I was hoping it to get to 220. But what you can do, if you see it at 230 on Monday, just buy small in case, because if it takes off from this, if they approve today, let's assume the minister surprised us and they say they approve 90% increase. It is not that day that you now want to buy, because you would say, who is the, in quotes, the mumu that want to sell? Sometimes people may want to sell because they seriously need the money, but they would just be a few. So it will go on bid, and by the time you look at this stock, if it does another 20%, it means it's crossing to about 262. Fair value is around 250, 260. But people will review those fair value once the tariff is approved. And that is why we are targeting 300 naira minimum for this stock in 12 months. You would see the ICO. Yes, they have a lot of shares outstanding, but they still have potential for growth. They still have potential for growth. There were some stocks that I would say between a bit of technical and speculative. I listed John Holtz, I listed livestock, I listed that I said I bought myself. But those ones, that's why I'll put caveat that if they don't look like very interesting names, but there are some that I will tell you that, see, like the way I'm saying buy MTN, I'm saying it with my full chest because the fundamental is so strong. Even if they don't approve it, I've looked at their 9-month results because some of these things will also look at their 9-month results. In Q3 alone, they made a profit of 3 billion. It means they have left a loss era. And if FX does not move significantly this year, they will make profit because they have to make a provision, a loss of about 904 billion in their results. So imagine you made that 904 billion could have been dividend they could have paid. So once those FX losses are not there again, it means that they have potential for growth. So look at the on the left-hand side, those that are major losers for this year. Some of those long-term stocks, if you check that list, I spoke about Presco, Okomu Oil, long-term. And the reason is that from even what we hear about, people are paying 6 months ahead to get their products. They are into oil. People will deposit cash for them to get their products. So that's like a potential. There's one stock that we recommended last year. It's not moved. That's Ella Lakes. Like that one, our advice, it should not be more than 1% of your portfolio you are putting there. They are also in the same business with Presco. But if the management are sincere, they already have, I had people that went to visit their farm. In 2 years, in 3 years, if they start producing, they will move. So if you, let's say your total portfolio in stock is 100,000 and you put 1,000 in that one, you are not concerned. But that 1,000 can be 100,000 in 10 years' time. So these are some of the stocks that we would drop for you, that you can also do your research. But I'm saying this so that for those that are new, we also understand the intelligence behind some of the stocks that we drop. I know that weekend on the insurance, I spent close to about 6 hours on spreadsheets. You have to download results. You want to compare them and you want to see which one are valued. Before I said these are the top 5 stocks that you should recommend. Also discussing with various senior people also in the industry. We had analysis, debated it before we now agreed that these are the 5 stocks that you should invest in. So this is just showing the chart. I'll be wrapping up now. So you will discover that there's a lot that we can discuss. I would just want to encourage us, and for those of you can also encourage others to find time to join the class. We may also do a poll to know when most people are available, but we feel that either Saturday evening, Sunday evening are always better for people to that people are available to join webinars like this. So look at Vanguard 500 1-year performance. These are the different types. You would see Vanguard as there's the Vanguard 500 S&P ETF. We also have the information technology. So those ETFs are like a basket of stocks. So even if you gain 21% last year in dollars plus 69%, it means that it is 80% that you gain. So you put 100,000, your money is now 180. Fixed income will not give you. Fixed income will not give you that same stock, but that same return. But it is still good that you have a lot of your money in fixed income, but the return on the equities will be covering up for that. This is this is Microsoft, if we look at it, so you will see, for instance, this is Microsoft when it started 1990. See, look at this trend. This is almost like a 30-year chart. You will see that there are periods when you see this period in 2020, the period in 2020 when market was down, you still see that for those that are smart, they would have bought it at that period. And now it has gone back to surpass its previous high. So that is one thing we should note about stocks that have strong fundamentals. Seeing Nvidia almost 68,000% from when it was listed, Apple 140,000% gain. So what we'll be asking ourselves and be trusting God that we try to get is, which stock is the next Amazon? Which stock is the next Apple? Those are some of the things we try to do. For sometimes we do even subscribe to some paid subscription to get data, to get information, to know, for us to know what we also try to recommend. This is Michael. You see 1 year return. Nvidia about 147%, Tesla about 73%, Apple about 27%. So I would we won't be able to, I don't want to just, this is not like an external webinar that you have 1 hour and you just want to just rush through the 1 hour, and there are some things that will not be covered. So what I would say, what we will do now for the next 50 minutes is for us to take questions. So we would try before end of the month, we would also fix another class where there are some of the things that we did not cover, we would also be able to take it. You cannot learn, if it's that easy to learn it in 1 hour, everybody would be investing in it. So if you feel, for those that are new, if you feel so overwhelmed, just gradually, some of the class we may repeat it, and if you think that you did not understand the first one, you come back, you can also join again and you're able to take it. So we would stop here so that we can take questions. But I hope that the few minutes that we have taken, that you have been able to benefit, and you have been able to benefit from it. So now we would focus on questions. Yeah, so thank you everyone for listening and for those that joined. So let me start with the questions in the chat group before, yeah, so I will start with that question first. And so please, I also appreciate this at the end of the class, I will appreciate if you drop your feedback, so that for those that are not able to attend, they can also be encouraged to attend this session when we have it next. Yeah, so the Vanguard 500 is different for S&P 500. Yes, they are different. So what happens is that it's just two different companies that have set up. You know, when we talk about the 500 represent the top 500 companies, capitalized, most capitalized company in the US. So I can have maybe company Vanguard is an asset manager and a fund manager. They set up a fund. S&P is also a fund manager. Standard and Poor's in the US, they set up a fund. So you would see that the only difference will be their management charges. That may be the difference. The stock would perform the same way, but most investors buy Vanguard 500. It's called VOO, Vanguard 500. So I would encourage us, everybody should have that in their portfolio. It's less risky. We know when we analyze the US market, Donald Trump is pro-American, so he say American first. He will not want stock market to crash during his era. He will do everything to support the stock market. And companies that operate in the US is going to increase tariff in those other economies that are to reduce demand for products of other economies and encourage people to buy in the US. So when you monitor what are the sectors, January 20 is the inauguration. When we monitor what are the sectors it would be bullish to invest in, excuse me, you'll be bullish to invest in to support them with capital. These are some of them. We look at companies and top companies within that space. That is how to also quickly benefit, um, within that space. The What's the next one? Yes, we are okay. How do we know stocks which are speculative and fundamental? So when I drop them, when we drop them, we would put, these are stocks that have strong fundamentals. This one are speculating. I'm taking risks. I would say, please invest just a tiny. You're taking a risk. There's one stock that will still drop, SMC high. I bought it, made close to 100%, is already coming down. But it is stock that if everything around that stock is, well, is one of those that are competing with NVIDIA. So I drop it, you just put 1% or 2% of your portfolio. So you are not bothered, even when it's down. If you see that it goes down well, if you still have fundamentals, you can ask, then we say, okay, maybe just buy more at that period. What are the top stocks? Not like that. Yes, we will repost. So because people join over time, and I would also like to acknowledge Coach Bori is also on the call. I know he's a lot of people have come through him. It's also a very champion of ensuring that people have financial freedom. So we'll repost, as people join. Sometimes when you see those reposts, don't get tired of them. It's just to help people that are new. Instead of rewriting, if most of those things are still relevant, we try to repost them. You know that over time, we would also have people, if we diligently will follow this class through, we practicalize what we are doing, then you would even also understand, you're able to also contribute. So I would, after this class, I'll repost some of those stocks, both the US, both Nigerian stocks that we have recommended. So for you to look at it. How do we know the stocks that are fundamentals? Yeah, so on your own, the way you can know stocks that are fundamentals on your own is you check out their results. You check out their results. Those that are fundamentals. How you know is you check out their results. We'll take a class. How do you identify that? We're talking because of our time. We can't also go into that. But basic thing is understand the business. Why is it easy to talk about MTN? As we are here, all of us are using data. People are making calls, so they are making money. The banks, we know that they are also making money. If you hear that interest rate has gone up, banks will make more money that year. So you position ahead. As we were expecting interest rate to reduce in the US, it means that because the US, a lot of companies borrow money, the cost of the money they borrow will go down. And as a result, they will make more money. So it is part of what is expected to drive the stock market this year. As they bring interest rate down, companies will make more money, because especially it's local companies, the likes of Apple, Facebook, NVIDIA, they don't depend on banks. They have too much cash. That's why they do buyback. When we talk about buyback, so imagine you have 1 million shares in circulation that all of us are buying, and because I have cash, I can buy 100,000 and cancel it. It means that I've thrown that money away. But what it does is that if before all of us are circulating 1,000 shares, now they've bought 100,000 out of it, you know that the supply, it means that there are now 900,000 shares. It means it will go up because more people are trying to buy it, but the number of shares that is in issue is now 900 compared to 1 million. Apple too, all of them have enough cash. So when interest rate is coming down, it doesn't affect those top stocks. There's this ETF that we call Rochelle 2000. It captures penny stocks and the likes. That index is being projected that may do well this year, because it's those penny stocks that will benefit from a cut in interest rates. So we need to we should note that. Please, what is the name of the stock that produces the same? Call it is Ella Lakes. Ella Lakes. They are not making money now, right? But we're saying trying to just speculate and buy it for the future. They are not making money now. For the okay, someone asking about the presentation. No, so what we just expect is that we are not sharing this presentation. We'll try to also drop the recording. You can, once you come, we will be able to explain to you. You can also listen to the recording because there are still, you'll see that we still have a lot of slides that have not presented, and we'll continue to also improve it, and we can also reuse it for those that did not have time to join us today. What's the difference between limit order and market order? Okay, very, very good question. Limit order, and there's something I prepared on Friday, but I did not post on this limit order and market order. I'll post it later today or tomorrow, Monday. Limit order is when you have a definite price in mind. So I want to buy NVIDIA at 100 Naira. I come to the market, I will choose NVIDIA, I put my limit price, and anytime the market, when people, those that are selling, I'm trying to buy, anytime those that are selling, the price gets to 100, they will supply me. Or I want to sell, I say I don't want to sell NVIDIA less than 140. I'll put it in the market. The day it gets to 140, the trade executes. So you would see on most of the system, they will ask you limit order. They will ask you for how many days. Some maybe will allow you to put that order for 30 days. So every day it will be checking. If it gets there, it sells. The only downside is that if you are trying to quickly buy a stock, if you use a limit order, if nobody is selling at that price, it means you will not get. And you sometimes some platform will allow you can cancel it and now put a price that can make you get that shares. That is limit order. You put at the price that you want it. It's also very good. So even if the market is volatile, it is the price at which you input that they will supply you. But market order means that, see, just sell it at any price you find in the market or buy it at any price you find in the market. So as long as there's trading in that stock, it will buy it the next best offer, next best bid. So someone that is, if you are trying to buy and someone is trying to sell, so the person that is trying to sell at the best price is what they would match with you, and you'll be able to buy. So sometimes, like I was trying to buy, there's restock, more analyzing on, and if I don't have time to monitor the market, I just buy at market price. But if you know that you believe that, okay, Zenith, I don't want to buy it above 40 Naira, you can key in your orders. You will just see the notification. Sometimes you have even forgotten that you keyed in those orders. So it's also helpful if you don't have the time. Let's say before you resume your work, you don't have the time to be checking it. Just key in those orders. And when they get to those prices, they execute. So they both have their pros and their cons, and they are also used for different things. So I would, is it depending on the approach that you think you want to use. So for those of us who are already in fixed income traders, the rebasing, okay, interesting. That's what I researched and so did today. Done by the affects CBN, hearing rumor about inflation around single digits. No, so the part of what, for starting with the second question, the rebasing, yes, on a rebasing level, which we say calculation, inflation rates, the different basket have changed. So food used to be about 50% of the inflation basket, 51%, or 50, to be precise, 50.7%. But now other things are coming in. So food may form about 40%. So even if the price of food is going up, it won't have as much impact. Secondly, based on the year they want to use as its base effect, so it will go down. But on a month-on-month basis, I expect that inflation will still remain around that 2%, right, on a month-on-month basis. So yes, they can rebase, but over time, on a month-on-month basis, if we don't work on those factors that drive inflation, it will still go up to double digits as we progress. But what with CBN, CBN will be looking at the monthly inflation rates. So even if they rebase it and it comes to 9%, tomorrow it moves, next month it moves to 9.5. That is what CBN, I think, will be looking at. Because you can't deceive, you won't want to play the ostrich, if I want to say that. If people think that inflation is actually 30% and statistically is 10%, I will not want to invest below that particular level. Secondly, when we look at our outlook around fixed income, we expect government cannot continue to borrow at these high rates. When you look at treasury bills, yield is almost at 28, 29%. It is not sustainable for long. So what I would advise for those that are in fixed income, when you are buying, buy those long-term 1 year, 270 days instruments, so that when they bring down interest rates, you will not be affected. You know, when there's what we call reinvestment risk, we'll look at when we also discuss fixed income. Investment risk, when your funds mature, you want to reinvest. The rate at which you would invest may be impacted. So that will not, I don't see that affecting those who are in fixed income. If you are locked in, it doesn't affect. That's why it's fixed. It's until when it matures that you will now be bothered about what to invest. There's this instrument that we would introduce to the committee. I think it may open this week, FGN savings bond. Minimum is 5,000. And the interest is paid every 3 months. You can also invest. Those of you that already have stock accounts, it's the same account that you use. So once it's out, we share the link, you fill the form. If you have other brokers that you use, you also just submit the form through those brokers. And so the last one was at 17, 18%. So if you have invested for 2 years, 3 years on that FGN savings bond, even if interest rate comes to 10%, it will not affect you until your funds mature. So that is also another strategy you need to adopt to be able to beat this inflation. Okay, heard some news about Nigerian police enforcing third party from this. Is it good to speculate around enforcing third party? No, there's already, so it be what I already said. Enforcement, yes, will increase it, but I think that on the average, most people already have that third party. I think maybe about 20,000. So people already, some insurance companies are already factor that in. But what people are betting more on is the when we say is the recapitalization. So for some of the companies that are small, they believe that the big guys would approach and buy them over. When they approve the recapitalization, some of them quietly have raised capital. Sometimes because of our relationship in the market, we get some privileged information. So some of them have raised private placements, they have raised capital, some are still raising capital in the markets ahead of the announcement, because it may not be easy for some of them to do like the banks and raise public offer, except those that have good names. So that is what is driving sentiment in the insurance space. Those that don't have assets, they feel or have good assets and they are not efficient. People that are efficient will buy them up. We will see mergers across to be able to survive that. So that's it on the insurance space. So we already listed the top stocks that you want to bet on. But if you feel led that you want to also do 1% speculative, you can pick one or two and just close your mind there. And if it doesn't go the way you planned, it won't also impact you significantly. For UBA and Access, so I would say Access is one of the top stock we are recommending. Though in terms of dividend, they don't compensate investors as much as we expect, but because it has remained sticky, when we say it has not moved at one level for a long time at that 23, I think when we started recommending it, when we started this platform this year, is around 22, 23. It's now 24. We think that it can easily touch 30 before end of this year. UBA2 is still very good. The banks, we don't expect 100% gain this year. We don't expect 50% gain this year, but they will still be positive. So as we are talking about fundamentals, these are the stocks you would have. UBA paid 2 naira interim. So we imagine that it will pay close to 3 naira final dividend. So you see that is a good stock that you want to have in your portfolio, because dividend is the passive income that we also spoke about. Does Optimus Biafra Invest offer access to trade in all stocks in the US? I don't know, not all, but most. Because, for Optimus Biafra Invest, they offer you fractional shares. If you cannot buy a whole 1 unit of Tesla, you can buy 10% of 1 unit of Tesla. So most of the fund managers, the partners is Drive Wealth abroad, there are some stocks they will not permit, maybe they are unable to get it in a fractional way and permit you to trade. That's the only restriction, but you at least more than 60-70% of the stocks that which they have over 8,000 stocks in the US. So even if you have access to 6,000, it's more than enough to choose from. Nigeria has about 220 listed stocks, so you can see the difference, and that's why the US market is more strenuous. You need to open your eyes well when you also try to invest. So I think I've answered the questions on the chat group. Okay, what do I think about Bamboo? And I think they are just confirmed that they are regulated. I think they have partners. Yocha, I think look at who they are partnered with, and be sure that those partners are regulated. And Bamboo too, I think they've gotten their license. Just check, just ensure that they are SEC licensed and they are regulated. I think Bamboo, okay, Chaka too is regulated. So just ensure that they are regulated. Why has it taken the bank so long to allocate the purchase of shares during the public offer? Interesting question. Yes, so for us then, and what we're saying during that public offer, say, why do you have to buy the offer? Why don't you buy on the floor? Because then they were almost trading at par. So some people that took that opportunity, bought Fidelity on the floor, will not even wait for them to list it, would have sold those shares. But now what is delaying is the process of getting approval is longer compared to the likes of like MTN. I think now that they've announced, they should, from any time from now, for some of them, FCMB has announced, I think maybe GTB has announced, they will begin to list those shares on the floor. So it's also part of what is impacting on the share price. So when I did a post share analysis, so simple way to just do that is that before GTB had 29 billion units of shares they are selling. Excuse me. They have 29 billion shares that they are selling. That is an issue. And the rights and the offer they are issuing is about maybe 10 or 15 billion. So when you add those units, so even if they made 100 billion last year, divided by 29, it means that they will be able to pay almost 3 naira. But now when they have 40 billion shares, it means they may not be able to pay as much until their profit improves. So investors are expecting that when they list these shares, more people, first of all, some people that have been waiting, they need money. Once this offer comes like this, they will quickly sell. So and that's why investors are waiting to see where banks stock will settle after they list the offers. And that's why people are a bit very conservative and it's not moving as expected. What are the good apps and verified to trade? So like I mentioned, Optimus by Afro Invest and Afro Investor, that's the company we are partnered with. But you also, for others that I know that bamboo is also regulated if you want to also do the trade with them. And they're also top stockbroking firms across, apart from AfroInvest, we have Stanbic, Cardinal Stone, um, Mary Stem, that if you think you also want to go with them. So, like I mentioned, this is open to all, but we have decided to partner with a company that we have affiliation with, and if you think you want to go with them, it is fine. AfroInvest has been in existence for 30 years, so you are also covered. So it's not a new firm, it's a very strong firm. So Optimus by AfroInvest is fully owned by, that's Optimus by AfroInvest is fully owned by AfroInvest. So you are also covered. Yeah, so please, how can you help type it for us that don't know them? Who is this? Please, which one is that? Okay, let me type it out. So I will soon be taking questions. So I talk about Optimus by AfroInvest. There's AfroInvestor 2.0, AfroInvestor 2.0. You want to do, I know that Chaka, the likes of Chaka, the Chaka bamboo. So some of there's Mary Stem, Cardinal Stone. So there are, for stock, there are several ones, but what you need, just ensure that this platform that they are using is also very strong, and ensure that they are regulated. So, but if you are asking if I'm ranking, and that's why I will always put the firm I'm affiliated with first, when I'm recommending. Yeah. So if do we also have, okay, this question? So do we have people that want to ask questions? Um, does AfroInvest as their stock for investment? So AfroInvest 2.0 is showing, okay, we're showing pending. So please, if you have delays, and please just send an email. I think we will repost that email, connect@afroinvest.com. I'm sure they would look at it. I think the number of accounts, sometimes when it's a lot, then it's been delayed. But once your account is approved, then that's just one of them. You're able to do it. So please try to just send an email when you have concern. Reason why we don't want too much, we don't want to turn the platform to like a customer service where we are just trying to resolve issues. People may miss even the real message, and that's why we put that email, because when people just see, wow, 200 chats, when they check, they see that it's 50% of that is just complaint, then we'll be losing the reason for setting up the hub, yeah, or setting up the community. So that's it. So please just resend the email to connect@afroinvest.com, or I think that you can also chat through the app. You chat with the agents also on Optimus. You can chat through the app. So you chat with the agents. So what's the difference between the two? One, you can trade Nigerian stocks on it. Second one, you can trade US stocks and do other investment. On Optimus, you can trade US stocks, do mutual fund, and enjoy also savings in naira and savings in dollars. On Afro Investor, you can trade Nigerian stocks, you can do treasury bills and FGN savings bond and commercial paper on that. Will there be a class on technical analysis? Yes, there will be a class on, at least on the basic or technical analysis. Sometimes I also use that when I'm making recommendations. Yes, there will be a class. So there's a lot, but I don't want us to feel overwhelmed. If it's that simple, everybody will be investing in stocks. And if you know that, yes, you don't even have the time to understand it, just do the ETF or the mutual fund. So there's what we call equity mutual fund. We also just invest. It means when you invest, it's the portfolio managers that decide on where they are investing, putting the money, which stock. They do the analysis and invest in stocks. But for ETFs, whether it's like I'm still going to buy this quantum computing ETF. Once I see that it's available, it's currently not available on Optimus, but it's available so that this is a new area. It's just like we are buying AI ETF. You don't know, 100 companies may be within that space. Only a few of them will survive. But for those that are uh, the fund managers, they will be able to identify those ones that will do well, those ones that will not do well. And even if they make any mistake, it's a basket. So it's not going to impact on the overall stocks. Yeah, so does anybody want to ask questions, or we have dropped them on the chat? While we're waiting for that, no hand is up. Say that periodically when you see the stocks would put clearly reason why you should buy, but ensure buying stocks, you don't buy one off. And you will buy Nvidia, you just buy it, or you buy Tesla, fine, you buy one off. But how you grow the wealth is you dollar cost average. So set what I want us to do um, from this month is that if it's Nigerian stock, if it's 2,000 naira you want to be putting there every month, set it aside. For US stock, if it's $10, I'm coming, some of us may have capacity to do $1,000 every month, but it means there's nobody that is excluded. If it's $10 you want to be putting every month, be putting it every month. Before you know it, at the end of the year, that's $120. It will look like a joke, but in 5 years, that's $600. For those that are putting $1,000 in 1 year, that's $12,000. That is how you grow it. So by the time you see, you are trying to build a culture, is a culture shift. So at the time you are trying to build a culture, once you build that culture, you'll be so used to it because you are seeing the benefits of the culture and the discipline that you are building. And over time, you get used to it, and you would also now enjoy the benefits. So I think if there are no questions, we have tried this in our 40 minutes. Okay, my choices way. Okay, hold on. Choices way to start off is stock my will to go for ETF class before stocks. Go in on ETF first. Yes, ETF is fine. SEC does not allow direct access to it. No, you can invest on ETF even on Optimus by AfroInvest. We've spoken about, I think I dropped the top ETFs or something. The already I dropped that. We'll repost some of those things after this class, and you can invest in them. You don't have to worry whether what's Apple doing, what's Tesla doing, what's Meta, that's Facebook, what are they doing once you invest in those stocks. So please, as we wrap up, so what's your view on electricity industry and transport power? Transport power, for me, like I started this class, no attachment. When Transcorp was listed, I bought, made money, and I'm out. The stock now, I think, is trading at multiples. But sometimes what we also see in this market, there are some stocks this is an enclosed community, stocks that some people will influence. There are some people influencing some of those stocks. So there are some personalities, we may not be able to mention it, but sometimes beyond fundamentals, some personalities may influence some stocks. If you see the Transcorp Power, I think it was really overvalued. Then I did evaluation, compared it to Geregu, and immediately when I got to evaluation of Geregu, immediately exited and moved to another stock. So, like when I started, don't get in love with any stock. When you see that there are no potential, when you see new opportunities, you can sell part of the stock that you think you are not comfortable with and quickly go and take that new opportunity in it. David Johnson, please, I will reshare some of those stocks that we have recommended on the plan. As you progress, just to put it, sometimes we may have time to post, sometimes may be very busy, but just be assured that we have this thing, we are passionate about it. The vision is to ensure that you are empowered, that you you invest and you are building yourself or working towards financial um, freedom. So I would like to bring the class to a close. I would, like I mentioned, please let's drop our feedback on the platform so that for those that are unable to attend would also know that at least it was worth everybody's was worth your time, and we'll try to fix the class before the end of the month. And please, if this is what you think you want to invest in or you want to learn it, please. And these are things that people pay a lot to learn. So just try your best to take advantage of this opportunity. To join the WhatsApp group, uh, you can go to the Get Finance. That's on the Instagram. Get Finance and Investment Tips. You'll see it on the bio to join. So yeah, so we'll do that. And thank you everyone for joining. And I hope it's been worth your time. Yeah. So have a good evening.